This is TWiT.
Let's talk about the iPhone Air. Now, we're going to find out a little bit more Thursday, right, Jason? That's when Apple will announce its quarterly results.
Maybe. There's only a couple of weeks of iPhone sales, so what would happen there is Apple will be given an opportunity to characterize iPhone sales. My guess is that they will only
They're not going to
talk it a little bit because it's such a small part of the quarter. I think that for us to really get a sense of what might be doing well and not, it'll probably be in 3 months when they do the holiday quarter earnings, because that's when they're going to have a much better read on how sales are going. They might do it this time. It usually comes in the form of something like some independent, researcher says that the top 4 iPhones in urban China, or top 4 phones in urban China are iPhones, or something like that. That's usually what the boast is. So, because Apple doesn't break out by category or by individual iPhone product, other than in boasts like that. So we're not going to know like how the iPhone Air is doing, and like there are a lot of conflicting signs. I know these are the stories that we're going to get to, of like Apple's expectations for it might have been high, which doesn't actually say what their expectations were.
Well, worse than that, an analyst said they have supply chain analyst said they have cut iPhone Air production to zero practically.
Well, that has to do with their expectations, but also then there's the story about apparently they sold out in China. I don't know.
Yeah. In fact, Apple Insider says not so fast. iPhone Air production cut orders may not be true. So there is some debate about it. TD Cowen stepped in to denounce the claims, says Apple Insider. Apple isn't changing how many iPhone Air units it'll produce this year at all, according to their investor note. I mean, this is what analysts want, to figure out. I think there's no question, though, that the iPhone 17 in all its forms is selling very well, better than perhaps last year.
Seems to be.
Exactly. And even if there's a demonstration that the iPhone Air is a niche product, like even Samsung, there's another analyst report on the Android side that says that Samsung's own ultra slim phone that they're not necessarily planning on doing an update next year. They're keeping it the price, and that wouldn't be true if they felt as though this was a gangbuster seller. This is a suite of phones. This is not necessarily one product. This is why Apple did not say, guess what? We've redesigned the iPhone 17 to be super slim, and that's all you get. It's no, we've decided to expand the range, just like they decided to do an iPhone mini a few years ago. Even that was not necessarily updated every single year. It was just an addition to the line to fill in a void that they thought that existed in the market. So, like Jason said, we're not going to find out for real for another few months. What we will find out during the analyst call is, as Jason indicated, that if they have something to boast about, then that will be in Tim's opening comments, and particularly if they can say that, oh my God, we have never sold as many iPhone 17s in China as we have. Maybe they even can drop the in parentheses in urban markets in which there is a Major League Soccer league.
It's hard, but they try.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll try, and they do. One thing is the quarterly results only cover about 2 weeks of iPhone sales, but they know how the iPhone sales have gone for the 4 weeks after that.
I certainly hope they would. Yes.
So they know. I mean, that's the thing is like Apple knows in detail what's going on, right? So if they want to make a broader characterization to analysts and say, in general, we've seen the first 6 weeks of sales and we're very happy. They can and may do that. It's just they also could refrain right now because it is early enough, and that could hold that for the holiday quarter results in January. So we'll see. But all eyes on Apple, right? They have an opportunity to do some disclosure, but it does sound from everything else that we've seen that this has been a good cycle for them. That for whatever reason, the changes have been successful, and I keep hearing that the iPhone Pro and the Pro Max have sold very well in all over the place, and I don't know how many of those are orange and how many are blue, but they seem to be that big, the anodized back and all of that. Like whatever the reasons, it seems like a lot of people are jumping this year.
And I want to say my orange has not turned pink, despite what others have said.
Mine too is still just a delightfully orange.
This is why it's always like you don't necessarily dismiss early reports of, oh gosh, this thing is scratching up like no one's business. Oh gosh, this is discoloring, because it's possible for both things to be true, that lots and lots of people are experiencing this phenomenon, and B, that does not necessarily reflect a manufacturing defect. So yes, we're seeing all over the place social media posting, why is the camera shroud pink all of a sudden? I've only had this for a couple of years. And it turns out that you shouldn't have been using that kind of cleaning fluid on the thing, because it did discolor this component, but not the rest of it. And that's a mistake that anybody could make. It's like if you've been cleaning your previous devices with sanitary fluids, that has not made any sort of a ding, and you did it for the first time a couple times on your brand new phone and nothing happened, that's not your first go-to. It's like, oh, okay, it turns out that they were serious about saying, do not use peroxide-based cleaners, do not use this kind of a cleaner. This time we actually absolutely do mean it.
Okay, I don't want to spend a whole half hour on pink, so let's move on.
All I was going to say, though, is that I still think it comes down, talking to the folks at Verizon, the number one question was which was the best cameras. Like I grilled this poor guy at Verizon, like, just asking him, like, who's buying what and what are they buying and why do they buy it? And he's just like, well, they just want to know which one has the cameras, and that's what, this is just informal. It's not like I did a research.
It's also battery life. I think people are concerned about battery life on the air, although I just saw somebody wrote an article saying you get all day battery life. I mean, it really is all day. Battery life is decent on the air. We thought when people saw the air, we thought people would go, oh, this is beautiful, I have to have it. The problem is we don't know. We just really don't know. And,
we don't know. The Chinese argument is interesting because it has generally been thought that China in particular, and a lot of Asian markets in general, there is more interest in, does this phone look different than in other, it's just a different reason to upgrade than in other markets, that people in China, iPhone buyers in China, really like having a new look to their iPhone. And that's a stronger motivator than maybe in some other parts of the world. That's been
that's why I bought orange. I wanted everybody to know I have the latest iPhone.
Right. Yeah, it's generally thought that that's the case. Well, if this story is true, if it's accurate, that after going through all the issues with getting eSIM-only phones to work in China, which delayed the launch, that there's actually some interesting level of demand for the iPhone Air in China, that's an interesting data point. I also keep thinking what I said, I think, when they came out, which is this feels like a kind of a grower of a phone where people are going to see it, people are going to think about it. More casual people are going to go into the store and go, ooh, that's pretty. And that it may be more successful in month 3 or 4 than in month 1. But that said, it's probably never going to be more successful than these mainstream iPhones, and that's okay too. So we'll see. I mean, like, only Apple knows for sure, because we don't know how many minis they sold or pluses they sold. This is in that same slot. What did Apple think this phone was going to sell, and is that good enough? I think it's interesting that it doesn't have a number on it, because that might suggest that Apple thinks that this is more like an SE, which is now like the E phone, but like it's more like a phone that just kind of is out there for 18 months or 2 years and then gets an update and is not on the treadmill of every year. And that would say something about their expectations of this model too.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this highlight from MacBreak Weekly. If you want to see the whole show, we're every Tuesday. You can watch us live right here on YouTube, or just click the link below and download an episode, or subscribe if you really like it. What does it the kids say? Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.